Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to welcome you all on this special occasion. First and foremost, let us all thank the Almighty for this day and forever. I call upon the college choir for the prayer song. On this special day, we are conducting National Workshop on Graph Labeling and its application in networking in our college. It is crucial to inform you that the Department of Mathematics started in the year 2007. Mathematics is not about numbers, equations, or computations. It's about understanding. As we all know, the importance of mathematics in day-to-day life. As a mathematician, it is our duty to pour that knowledge to the large number of people. Mr. K. Ponnarasu, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, is requested to deliver his welcome speech.
Thank you, Bhavani. I am extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to welcome you all for this workshop conducted by Department of Mathematics and Science College on the occasion of Science Day well in advance. But now I would like to welcome our beloved Chairman, Chevalier Dr. N.R. Dhanabalan sir, our Dynamic Secretary, Mr. N.R.D. Prem Kumar sir, our Joint Secretary, Dr. P.R. Tension sir, our Principal, Dr. Inita Lebanon Evans ma'am, and our Vice Principal and IPSC Coordinator, Mrs. Jafia Solomon ma'am. Of late, graph theory is one of the domains which is rapidly increasing in research now. It is the time to welcome our renowned personality, Dr. A. Professor, lovely professor at University, Punjab. Sir, we welcome you to grace this occasion, and I welcome all the heads and faculty members and students of Anne Valley Science College and the participants from various institutions. Once again, welcome you all.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to welcome our Honorable Principal Ma'am, Dr. Inita Lebanon Evans, to address the gathering.
Happy morning to one and all present in this virtual platform. I am extremely happy and I appreciate the Department of Mathematics for conducting this national level workshop on graph labeling and its application in networking. On behalf of the management, I welcome Dr. Parthiban from Lovely Professional University, Punjab. So as I could read his resume, I could find like he's the right person for this topic because his area of specialization is on graph theory. Moreover, he is a gold medalist with a consolidated score of 90% in discrete mathematics conducted by IIT Madras in the year 2018. And he is also a member in many professional bodies, and also he has got very rich research experience, and he has been a senior research fellow, and he has done his research on the title on prime distance labeling on graphs during the year 2015 to 2018, and he has also been a junior research fellow during the period 2011 to 2013. To his credit, he has edited and reviewed many books, and he has also acted as a reviewer in many reputed international journals. He is guiding 4 PhD scholars, and he is also guiding postgraduate and undergraduate students on research. He has authored many books and chapters in the books, and he has attended many conferences and workshops. He has also served as a resource person in invited talks and lectures. So with these credentials, we are very happy to invite Mr. Dr. Parthiban for this occasion on national seminar, and we are really happy to have you here, sir. And I request all the participants to make use of this wonderful session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon Dr. S. Bhanupriya, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, to introduce our eminent personality, Dr. A. Parthiban, resource person, Lovely Professional University, Punjab.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I feel fortunate to get this opportunity to introduce our resource person and our chief guest of today's event, National Workshop on Graph Labeling and its Applications in Networking. Dr. A. Parthiban, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Mathematics, Lovely Professional University, Punjab. He has completed his bachelor's, master's, and master of philosophy in mathematics in Lala College, Chennai, with outstanding and exemplary grades. He also completed his PhD program in Madras Christian College with senior research fellowship, and his area of specialization is graph theory. Dr. A. Parthiban at present guiding 4 PhD scholars, 7 postgraduate students, and 11 undergraduate.
Network issue, ma'am.
Under any pressure.
Yes.
It,
Yes, we can continue.
yes, I think now it's connected. Personally, I know Dr. A. Parthiban sir, who is a person of simplicity and always an optimistic person. He is a person with who can always guide, he is a person with a dynamic. So now it's a time, this is a time to introduce sir, and now this introduction won't be complete enough if I don't say that he's excellent teacher and he's been a role model for the students. We welcome you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. The national workshop program will be incomplete without wise words of our chief guest. Now I invite our chief guest, who has found time out of his busy schedule and grace the occasion.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, can you permit this PPT 48 na Aja segment? Can you make it as a host so that I can
So
share?
he's a host, co-host.
Okay, ma'am.
You can say, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Is my screen visible, ma'am? Is my voice audible and the screen is visible? Hello.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Visible,
yes,
sir.
sir. Visible.
Good, good. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And I'm so happy. First of all, I'm bringing greetings from Punjab, the land of prosperity. Though I'm working in Punjab, I'm always proud to say that I'm also from Tamil Nadu. It's my pleasure and honor, to be a, how to say, not a chief guest, to be one among you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would like to thank the management, the department, and the faculty members for providing me the opportunity so that I can interact with my students. So without further delay, let me directly get into the topic. The topic is graph labeling and its applications in networking. As Principal Ma'am said, so without mathematics, there is nothing you can do, whether you like it or not, whether you enjoy it or not, but without mathematics, nothing we can do. So everything is mathematics, everything around us is numbers. That's what the very famous mathematician Shakuntala Devi said once. So my my talk will include a small introduction to graph theory, and then graph labeling and its applications in different domain, especially in networking. Then I will conclude my session with references. I think most of us know the history of graph theory. It started in 17th century, and I would say 18th century, when Euler posted an interesting question that known as Königsberg bridge problem. There were 7 bridges. He asked, can you start from any bridge as you like? And you have to cross through all the bridges exactly once, and you have to come back to the same place where you started. This was a puzzle in the beginning. People tried. Finally, Euler gave the beautiful answer that it's impossible. So this is that bridge. This is called the Königsberg Bridge. You can see 7 bridges are there connecting 2 islands, A and B. And then from this real life problem, he extracted a beautiful graph. I have given adjacent to that. This is the graph that he extracted from the real life situation. Then the graph theory started. He published a paper. Then people started to find different properties of graphs and graph theory. So now, having said this, an undirected graph or simply a graph as simply three components: vertex sets, edge sets, and incidence function. I don't know how many of you are from graph theory background. I heard some students are from computer science background as well. So irrespective of your background, you can definitely understand what's going to happen in this particular talk. So any graph has three components: vertex set, edge set, and incidence function. For example, a simple example. I take 10 students, I place them in the playground, 10 students with some distance. I put a line between two students if they are friends. That's it. This becomes a graph. All the students are vertices, and edge, I draw edge between two students if they are friends. If they are not friends, then I'm not going to draw a line between those two students. This is how we develop a graph. The same applicable to any real life phenomena. For example, I can take the set of all countries as my vertices. If you are doing a business with a particular country, we can put a line between those two countries. If you are not doing any business with the country, we don't put a line. This is how we form a graph. So any graph has three components, as I said: vertex set and edge set. So you can see this graph, very simple graph I have given you on 4 vertices: U, V, W, and X. Why do I call as it a simple graph? Because it doesn't have any loop, it doesn't have any multiple edges. There exists only one edge between any two vertices. That's why I call it as a simple graph. So now here in this graph, U, V, W, and X is a path, whereas a subgraph generated by K3, that is U, V, and W, is an induced subgraphs. I'm not going to in detail because it is irrelevant. Then walk, trail, path, and cycle. This is very famous terminology that we use in graph theory. A walk is a finite non-empty sequence. That is, you start at any vertex, go through an edge, again go to some vertex, again go through one edge, go to some vertex, and keep on doing this. That becomes a walk. You can walk any number of times. So the same vertex or same edge. If the edges are distinct, then it is called a trail. If the vertices are distinct, then it is called a path. A closed trail whose origin and internal vertices are distinct is called a cycle. So now, naturally, if you are from non-graph theory background, you may ask a question: sir, why should I study graph theory? What is the necessity? What is the need of studying this subject called graph theory? I must tell you that interconnection networks appear in almost all systems where some components communicate. Maybe telephone network or communication system, even interconnection network, where the nodes represent the systems and the edges represent the links among them. So now the graph theory will give you the properties of the particular network, interconnection network. So you cannot avoid graph theory if you are from interconnection network background or if you are from some communication network. Sir, I'm from electrical engineering. No problem. Graph theory is used in designing circuit connections. Obviously, if you are from electrical engineering, graph theory is used in designing circuit connections. Because when you design a circuit, you should be careful that there is no much crossings. You should be willing to avoid the overlaps or crossings. Sir, I'm from computer science. Graph theory is used to study the algorithms like Dijkstra's algorithm, Prim's algorithm, Kuspral algorithm, and so on, to find the shortest path in the given network. Because people are interested in shortest path. For example, if you are in a courier service, or if you're in a post office, or if you're in anywhere, you always interested in shortest path. We don't want to spend our time and energy in traveling. In physics, in chemistry, of course, graph theory is used to study molecules. So I'm just giving where graph theory is used in different domains. In social science, graph theory is also used in sociology. For example, we take the set of all friends, means people, as the vertices. If you know a person, you have edge between you and that person. If you don't know the person, you don't have edge. So this is how you develop a friendship graph or acquaintanceship graph. Then you have a graph theory in biological network. Then you have a graph theory in transportation. You have a cities, you have a roads among the cities, you have a railway network, you have a air traffic. So that's how you can keep on saying that the applications of graph theory in almost every field. So one simple example I've given you here, it's a Facebook graph. Nowadays, people are very active in social networks like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, this and that. See, even I can develop it as a graph. You have so many people there. If you are a friend of someone, you have an edge between you and that someone. So this is how you develop a Facebook graph. Similarly, you can develop a WhatsApp graph. You can develop a Instagram graph or anything. Similarly, you can take the set institutions as the vertices. Maybe Anna Violet College, or Stella Maris, or Queen Mary's, or Loyola College, MCC. You can take all the institutions. If you have a research collaboration with a particular institution, you can draw edge. So that becomes maybe research collaboration graph. Similarly, you can take any real life phenomena, and you can develop it as a graph. So you cannot avoid graph theory if you are in any field. So that's why we have a workshop that is on graph labeling and its applications. So now I gave a simple introduction to graph theory. Now let's go into graph labeling. So now I explained you what is a graph. It has some vertices and some edges. Now what is graph labeling? So we are going to label the graph. For example, I have a label that's my name is Parthiban. You may have your name may be Arun, maybe your label is Arun. Somebody maybe is Sweta, your label is Sweta. So this is how we label the person, we label the people. Similarly, how to label the graph? Because it has two components, vertices and the edges. So if you label the vertices, it's called vertex labeling. If you label the edges, it's called edge labeling. That's very simple. But you cannot random. For example, if you name a boy, we always look for names which is suitable for a boy. If you are labeling a girl, the names should be suitable to a girl. For a boy, we will not name a girl. We will not give girl's name. Similarly, for a girl, we will not give a boy's name. Same here. We follow some conditions when you label the graph. Some conditions, some constraints are there. So that's why we call it as a graph labeling is an assignment of integers to the vertices or edges or both, but subject to some conditions. That is called a labeling of a graph. So there are hundreds of types of labeling. Not necessarily only one way is there, many types of labeling. For example, I take a graph, simply a graph, and I take n numbers. If there are n vertices in the graph, I take n numbers from 1 to n. and you give the numbers wherever you want, but in such a way that if two vertices are connected by an edge, the GCD must be 1. GCD is greatest common divisor. So that is called prime labeling. I give you n numbers, but anywhere you give any number to any vertices, but if the vertices are joined by an edge, the GCD is 1. For example, 2, you can give 2 and you can 3. You can give 3 to the neighboring vertices because the GCD of 2 and 3 is 1. But whereas you cannot give 2 and 4 because GCD of 2 and 4 is not 1, it is 2. So that's how you label, that's called a prime labeling. Similarly, there is another graph called prime distance labeling. You take a graph and you give numbers to the vertices in such a way that the distance between any two vertices is a prime number. As you know, what is a prime number? A number which is divisible by 1 and itself. So you take a graph, you give numbers to the vertices of the graph in such a way that the distance between any two adjacent vertices is a prime. That's why we call it as a prime distance labeling, because everywhere you get the prime distance. I'm just giving you some examples, some types of labeling. Then we have a complete graph. What is a complete? From the word itself, we can understand that a completeness. If you have 3 vertices, you have an edge between all the 3 vertices. You can see here K3. And similarly, you can see K4. K4 means you have 4 vertices and you have a connection between all the 4 vertices. It is called complete graphs. And of course, you know this wheel graph. We know this wheel graph because we use wheel in cycle, bike, in a car, everywhere. So it's a wheel graph. You have a cycle and you have spokes and you have a hub, the central vertex. So I have displayed the prime distance labeling for complete graphs and wheel graphs and etc. So now I heard some computer science students are there. I would like to highlight few important conjectures. What do we mean by conjecture? Conjecture is generally a statement which is believed to be true, but not yet proved or disproved. That's called conjecture. It's not theorem. It's a statement which is believed to be true, which is neither proved nor disproved. So now there is a beautiful conjecture called twin prime conjecture. Why I'm saying this to the computer science students or mathematics students? Maybe you can try to prove this conjecture. It's a very world famous conjecture. What does it say? For example, it says there are infinitely many pairs of twin primes. That means 3 is a prime number, 5 is also a prime number, but the distance between 3 and 5 is 2. Similarly, 11 is a prime number, 13 is a prime number. The distance between 11 and 13 is number 2. Similarly, 29 is a prime number, 31 is a prime number. The distance between 29 and 31 is 2. That's what it says. Similarly, there are infinitely many pairs of twin primes, but it remains a conjecture till date. So if you are from computer science background, please do find some algorithm or some program to prove this. If you prove this, you will become a world famous computer scientist, or you will become a world famous mathematician, because till date it remains a conjecture. There is another conjecture called Goldbach's conjecture. See why I'm saying these conjectures at this particular talk, because we are now some students are faculties from mathematics background. Similarly, some students and faculties from computer science background. Sometimes we need computer science background people to solve mathematical problems. Similarly, sometimes they need mathematicians to solve their problems. Like now we are actually interdependent. Now Goldbach's conjecture says every even number greater than 2, let be 4 or 10 or 20, any even number is sum of 2 primes. For example, 10 is nothing but 7 plus 3. If you take 20, 20 is 13 plus 7. Any even number is sum of 2 primes. So 26, 13 plus 13, sum of 2 primes. Now, even this conjecture till date remains an open problem. I mean, remains a conjecture. If you devise a particular algorithm or software, if you design some program, then if you prove it, then it becomes a world famous thing. Now, there is a beautiful concept called a duplication of a vertex in a network, in a graph. So what is duplication of a network? For example, let's say you have a graph cycle. I'm duplicating these 3 here. I'm duplicating this vertex 3, the vertex which is labeled with 3. I'm duplicating this. What is duplication? You introduce a new vertex and you join this new vertex with its neighbors. See, I'm duplicating the vertex 3 by introducing a new vertex and joining this new vertex with the neighbors of the original vertex. Now, you may ask, sir, what is the need of this duplication? Let's say if you are from computer science background, you must be knowing, if this is your network, if this is the network, if suddenly, let's say suddenly the vertex 3 is not working, some fault, now the entire network will collapse, because this node, this processor, or this computers, or this system is not working now. So because of this, the entire network will collapse. Now, if you duplicate this node with some node, when it fails, now if you activate this, now still, even if the vertex fails to function, with this duplication, it will still function. Just like now in our houses, we have inverter. What is the need of inverter? When power goes off, we suddenly the inverter automatically jumps in, and it's it's still serve the purpose. Same here. When your original network is not functioning well, if some failure happens at any particular place, if you duplicate the vertex with a new vertex, the communication will be still working without any delay or without any disruption. Now, next concept is called a coloring a graph. So just now I told you, labeling is nothing but giving numbers to the vertices or edges with some conditions. Sir, I'm not interested in numbers. I'm interested in colors. Okay, no problem. If you are interested in colors, you give colors to the vertices. That's called a coloring. For example, one example I was showing you here. This is a coloring a graph. So, but what is the condition? If you are giving colors to the vertices, you color in such a way, if 2 vertices are adjacent, they receive different colors. You cannot give the same colors to the neighboring vertices. Just like this. If you are in the examination hall, if you are from same subject, do you think that the supervisor will allow you to sit together? If you are from same subject, they will not allow you. They will know, if you are from same subject, same batch, same year, they will not make you to sit together. They will they will ask you to leave the, to go to the other places. Same here. If 2 vertices are adjacent, they receive different colors. So now, sir, how many colors required to color this in this way? That is called its chromatic number. What is chromatic number? How many minimum number of colors you need to color the graph, vertices of the graph in such a way that no two vertices, no two adjacent vertices receive the same color. That is called its chromatic number. In this graph now, for example, red, I cannot give red here because these two vertices are joined. I cannot give red here again because again these two vertices are joined. I can give red here because these two are not joined. So you need minimum 3 colors to find the to get the proper coloring of this graph. So now the beautiful theorem is called the 4-color theorem. The mathematicians used computers to prove this theorem. It says, you give me any graph or you give me any map, India map or Pakistan map or France map, any map. I need only 4 colors to color that map. How do I color? See this example. You have some states. If 2 states are sharing the boundary, common boundary, then they should receive different colors. For example, this orange sharing the boundary with this dark blue, and this is sharing the boundary with this gray color state. So this is how you color. That means, how do we color? If 2 states are sharing the common boundary, they receive different colors. So mathematicians proposed that we need only 4 colors to color any map in the world. You give me any map, I need only 4 colors maximum. I can I can color maybe with 3 or 2, but maximum we need only 4 colors. So now look at the graph. If you are from computer science background, you look at the graph, you have a real life map and you take all the states as a nodes or vertices of the graph. And if 2 states are sharing the boundary, then you put the edge and you develop a graph like this. Now it becomes a network. Now you can study the properties of this particular network. So now, without further delay, let me directly jump into the applications of networking. Applications of graph labeling networking. The rapid growth in global mobile communication networks demands new solutions for existing problems. Such problems include reduced bandwidth in mobile devices. But this creates a need for new algorithm with, number 1, we need least possible communication traffic. Nowadays, now communication traffic is so much because of many people are using mobile, laptop, this and that. Now we are interested in least possible communication traffic, but high speed execution. We need majorly two things. These 2 challenges can be overcome by the applications of graph theory in developing local algorithms. Okay, these 2 challenges, that is least possible communication traffic and high speed execution. As I told you, a graph is simply a geometric structure made up of vertices and the lines. Sometimes the lines may be directed, sometimes the lines may be undirected, each linking a pair of vertices. Now, I'm going to give you an interesting cell tower placement map. Cell tower placement map, where each cell tower broadcast channel is likened to a color, and channel colors are limited to 4. The task of finding where to economically position broadcast towers for maximum coverage. See, nowadays now people are using mobiles, laptops, Wi-Fi, this and that. Now the network companies, they are interested in installing minimum number of cell towers, but the maximum coverage. because they don't want to spend more time in placing the towers. Now they use graph theory to go for the minimum number of cell towers. So if you see here, I've given you an example. You can see the E, G, they are users. You can see the overlapping. Wherever you are overlapping, these places are marked with the blue color, dark blue color. This red color is no coverage spot. You don't have any network there. So now this 4-color theorem or the 4-color concept is used here. See here, only 4 colors are required: 2 green color, 2 blue color, 2 gray color. So only you need 4 colors or the 4 channels to completely solve these issues. So people, the computer science or the networking people, they used this 4-color theorem in this particular concept to minimize the installation of cell towers. So they used that, they showed that 4 channels are required to sort this issue. Similarly, groups special media. GSM is a mobile phone network where the geometrical area of the network is divided into hexagonal regions or cells. So again, in this particular field, graph theory is again used, especially the 4-color theorem is used to get the optimistic or optimum outcome. In communication networks, graph theory can be also used to represent communication networks. A communication network is a collection of terminals, links, and nodes which connect to enable telecommunication between users of the terminals. So as you know, the computer science students as well as mathematicians, you should be knowing every communication network has basic 3 components. They are terminals, processors, and transmission channels. So the communication network aims to transmit packets of data between computers, telephones, processor, or other devices. So now the graphical representation of communication network. It has 3 main components: latency, diameter, and congestion. Diameter is nothing but, for example, if you have a vertex here and you have one more vertex in the same network, the diameter talks about what is the longest distance I should travel in the network to reach that particular vertex, but the distance should be the shortest. That's called its diameter. This is very important in communication network because you should know the diameter of the graph. Only then you can plan the communication network. Otherwise you will lag. So these properties, diameter of the graph network, is very important in planning your network. So again, binary tree is a concept in graph theory. This again used in a communication network. What is binary tree? You have a root vertex and you have its children. Bi means 2. Each node has exactly 2 children under it. For example, you can see here, very beautiful network. You have a node and you have 2 vertices. Again, under this, you have 2 vertices. I said to bi means 2, so you have 2 children under every node. And you have again, you have 2 children under this node, you have 2 children. Here, these square boxes are called terminals or sources. And you see here, you have a source here and you go here and come back to the what. This is how it communicates in the form of binary tree. So you have a binary tree and you have a communication network here. So binary tree representation for communication network. Now, in computer network security, what is the necessity of graph algorithm in computer network security? There, people use this beautiful concept called vertex cover algorithm. What is vertex cover algorithm? For example, you look at this graph. If I choose 4, what is vertex cover? You have to choose minimum number of vertices to cover the entire graph. For example, 4. If I choose 4, this 4 will cover 6, and this 4 will cover 5, and this 4 will cover 3 also. So it has, if I select 4, it takes care of 6, 5, and 3. Similarly, if I choose 2, it takes care of 1. So just by selecting 4 and 2, the entire graph is taken care. The entire graph is covered. Now, this concept is used in network security, where you have to give the importance, where which 2 vertices or which 2 processor, which 2 system you have to protect, so that the entire data will be taken care. The entire information can be safe. This is called a vertex cover algorithm. This is used in network security. Similarly, ad hoc networks. Graph theory is used in ad hoc networks, especially manets, mobile ad hoc networks. And fault tolerant system. As I told you in the very beginning, fault tolerance. If some fault is happening in your network, still the network should function. It should not collapse. So the graph theory plays a vital role in keeping the communication network functions irrespective of some failure. So I have given you a detailed explanation, but I don't have much time to explain all this. But let me give an outline how these are used in different fields. Similarly, automatic channel allocation for small wireless local area network. Again, here also you can use the graph algorithm for LAN. Then modeling sensor networks as a graph. Sensor networks, I have got variety of applications. Similarly, especially tracking of mobile objects, collection of environmental data, defense applications, healthcare, and etc. So sensor network is also modeled as a graph to analyze the communication efficiency. In fingerprint, so nowadays, if you go to any bank or if you go to college or if you're working in office, everywhere they are taking fingerprint. And here, even fingerprint, especially used in criminal investigation, there the graph theory and graph labeling plays a vital role, in keeping this fingerprint safe and its data and collection and everything. So I would like to conclude this session. Simply, I have highlighted what is a graph. It has 2 components mainly, nodes and edges. Nodes can be anything, like it can be vertices, it can be people, it can be system, it can be processes, it can be anything, it can be cities, it can be anything. And if 2 cities are connected, if 2 processes are connected, if 2 nodes are connected, there you have the edges. Then accordingly, once you develop your graph, then you talk about the properties. And as I told you, graph labeling is nothing but you label the graph with some conditions. And if I replace the numbers with the colors, it becomes coloring the graph. Then I explained you what is 4-color theorem. I told you any map can be colored with just 4 colors. The same concept is used in channel allocation. Just 4 channels are required to sort out any issues in any communication network. Then I explained you, not explained, but I just gave a glimpse of the usage of graph labeling in communication network, in network security, in fingerprints, in sensor networks, and in other fields. So now with this little background, the computer science students as well as mathematics students, background students, you can take up, you can go through some research articles, or you can go through some materials, how you can advance this graph labeling in your own field, especially in network security and communication network. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Once again, I would like to thank the organizers and the management for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
So please stop sharing, sir.
Should
Stop.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir, for the words of wisdom. It was knowledgeable and mesmerizing speech. Now the session for question and answer. Now I read the questions one by one raised by the audience. Could you please tell us correlation between coloring and labeling?
I'm not getting the question, ma'am. Come again.
Yeah. Could you tell us correlation between coloring and labeling?
In labeling, we generally give numbers, integers to the vertices or edges, whereas in coloring, we give colors. In labeling, we don't use colors. In labeling, we generally use integers.
Sir, you explained about K coloring. Is there any similar concept in labeling too? Labeling also.
3 coloring, 4 coloring. No, ma'am. We don't have similar argument in graph labeling. We have this 4 color theorem only in coloring.
Only in coloring.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Today we had an opportunity to hear you your thoughts, and this will study surely be going to encourage us in our future events, sir. Now it's time for the conclusion. Our program is incomplete if we don't thank the members behind the success of the event. So I would like to call Mrs. S. Satya, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, for the vote of thanks.
Good morning, sir. It's my privilege to render a vote of thanks on behalf of the IQAC and the Department of Mathematics. My sincere thanks to our management for giving these opportunities to organize this workshop. I would like to thank our Honorable Chairman, Chevalier Dr. N.R. Thanabalan sir, our Secretary Mr. N.R.D. Prem Kumar sir, our Joint Secretary Dr. P.R. Prem Singh sir for their constant support and guidance. I thank our Chief Guest Dr. A. Parthiban sir for sharing his valuable knowledge with us. I extend our sincere thanks to our Principal Dr. Inita Lebanon Ebensi ma'am for her motivation. And I would like to extend my gratitude to our Vice Principal and IQC Coordinator, Mrs. Jofia Solomon ma'am, for her support and guidance. I thank the head of the other department, faculty members, and students of Anna Vallett Arts and Science College. I also thank the viewers, participants, professors, and students from other colleges. I thank our technical team, Mr. Abhilas and Mr. Lohanathan sir for their constant support. Thank you, everyone.
We had a great time with you, sir. Shall we conclude, sir?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.